Hi, I've got such a great big mother's heart when it comes to our team. I'm just so proud of them, and we have the most amazing team of itinerants. In fact, if you want to get to know them all, you can go to our itinerant page on the website. That's how we love to use our website to build relationship with you, and you can get to know them all. It's got their pictures and their bios and that. But I want to introduce to you today Len Rodriguez. Some of you have seen him in previous clips, and for some of you, you might be new to him. But him and his wife Gretchen oversee our Spanish department of Extreme Prophetic. And they're so anointed. Len goes out and he teaches our prophetic boot camps and prophetic evangelism and even the Glory School in Spanish. And so if you happen to know of any Spanish-speaking people or churches, pastors that would really love our teaching, I have just poured that commissioning into Len, and I'm so blessed with the fruit that's been going on in his life. I mean, the glory manifestations show up everywhere he goes, and he gets people out doing the work of the gospel, and the Spanish community just loves him. Well, the English-speaking community loves him too. But anyways, I want to introduce him to you right now, and he has a testimony to share with you. And when he first told me this testimony, I was really sobered by it, because so often, you hear the Lord and you're trying to follow Him, and sometimes you kind of do miss up a little bit on following the Lord a little bit here and a little bit there, and you think, oh, well, maybe that's just me or whatever. But sometimes missing the word of the Lord can be really costly. And the Lord lately has been speaking to me about the importance of walking with Him closely. And you know how sometimes in a season where there's lots of outpouring of the blessing of the Lord, you can even be not in His perfect will, but just in a permissive will, and still get blessed. Even the wicked seem to live under a blessing during those times. But in a time when there's a lot of shakings and that, you have to live in a really fine line. And that's where we're living. We have to learn how to hear the voice of the Lord carefully and then walk in what we hear. And so I think you're going to be sobered by this testimony, but I want to introduce you to Len Rodriguez. And if any of you want to email him, it's just lrodriguez@xpmedia.com. You're just going to love him. He's just so fun to talk to, and that too, if any of you want to build relationship. He also pastors our Spanish web church, so if you know of people that want to join the Spanish web church, they can find more about that online. But here's Len.
Hi, I'm Len Rodriguez, Director of the Spanish Ministry of Extreme Prophetic. Just want to share with you what God is doing all over the world. I've been in Venezuela, of course, Puerto Rico, and part of the United States, and I can tell you that the glory of God is falling. There's lots of miracles, signs, and wonders, and this is what God wants to do on the earth. We have different testimonies of different places. I can tell in Venezuela, when I was there ministering, with the boot camp, the prophetic boot camp, we saw miracles in there. People got healed. We saw signs and wonders, and people understanding the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, understanding that this is something that we have to have, because He said He will pour out over us, the knowledge of the glory of the Lord. So I have a small testimony about a group of the young people that went out to the streets. The story might be a little sad, but there's a lesson to learn here. We need to understand that when God tells us something, even if it sounds a little odd, or you might say, probably that came out of my brain or my mind, but we need to listen and learn how to listen to the voice of the Lord. This group of young people went out to the street doing a treasure hunt. A treasure hunt, what I understand basically is you sit with a group of people, you pray and ask God for treasure signs that you need to go out looking out on the streets. And you pray, and then you go out in the street looking for that treasure. And you go, when you see a person, for example, a part of the other treasure hunt, that someone says Peter or Pedro, and you go and it says, oh, are you Pedro? I say, oh yeah, so you're part of our treasure. And we're gone out to the street looking out for the treasure of God. And this is something that this group of people were practicing out on the streets. And my friend was telling me that he had an impression of putting the list. One of the treasure hints was to go and visit a manager of a specific grocery store in Puerto Rico. Of course, he put on the list, went out to the streets. There were signs and wonders. People got healed, saved. There was lots of good testimonies. But when he came back and asked, well, did you go see this manager? at the grocery store, and they said that they didn't have time or something happened, they got lost or whatever. So next 2 days after, this was a Saturday, a Monday morning, this manager went out to the street with his bicycle to do his morning run. Unfortunately, there was an accident right on a busy intersection, and those two cars collided. The second car bounced off the car and hit him right on the road, killing him instantly. My friend, when he was telling me this, of course, he had a broken heart, and he was telling me that it took this person's life for him to learn how to be obedient to God. And this is the important thing, that maybe they thought it was, oh, well, it was something out of the blue, but it was actually someone's life that needed to be touched by God. And this is what we need to learn, how to be obedient to God. And the positive side, and all the testimonies of people that we have gone out to the street, we went to visit some people, some drug addicts out on the streets. Of course, they're smelly, homeless. So we went out with the gospel. We lay hands on them. We give them love. Next day, we found one of them out on the streets, and he called us and said, "You know what? I'm glad that you guys came to me last night." And then we asked him why. I said, because, see, that night, I was getting ready to take my life. I said, I have never, ever in months had a good night's sleep, but last night, after you guys prayed for me, I went home, and it was for the first time I slept 8 hours straight. Now I'm ready to get my life straight, to go to church, to get rid of this drug addiction life. And he was grateful that we were there at the right time to bring in the love of the Lord and to bring in the knowledge of the Lord. And this is what we need to do. We need to just be sensitive. Maybe we need to forget what we need and start thinking about what the need of the people is, what God wants to do with them. And the thing is, God wants to do a lot of things for the people outside. They can't see it. We are the light. We are supposed to bring the light and the love of God to them. And that's what God is expecting us to do, because we are supposed to be touching people. We are supposed to be His mouth, His feet, His hands. We are supposed to be out there touching people. How can God reach someone if we don't go? Someone if we don't touch him? So we are to be the extension of the love of the Lord. And you know what? And I can guarantee you, if you've never done it, I can guarantee you, just go out and do it. And you're going to see something in your life. This is excitement. I don't know. I've never done drugs, but I think it's like a drug. It's like you did it once, you got to do it again. And then you do it again. And to see someone's lives change right in front of you does something to you. And it's confirmed that God is actually doing the work. It's not you, it's God. But just to see someone transform in front of you, it creates something in you that it tells you, yes, God is doing this. Yes, this is what God says. Go and preach the gospel. Go lay hands over this sick. Just being there at the right time, the right place, and to be obedient to God, to listen to the voice of the Spirit, and just to do. That's it. That's all we have to do. There's no parade that has to do, when you go and get someone into the Lord. Just be obedient, and you see that. Even a 4-year-old at a department store can heal someone, just to be obedient, and it's happened before. So we have to understand what God is telling. We have to understand that we have to leave ourselves away, and then give ourselves to God and say, what is it that you want us to do? And this is not something that you have to plan. And I believe this is not something that you have to plan. This is something that you can do anytime you get out of the house. Every time when you go even to the gas station, the grocery store, to pay bills. There's always an opportunity for you to touch someone with the love of God.